Then the third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers, and on the springs of waters. The name of a star is called Wormwood. And a third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters, because they were made bitter. Revelation 8:10-11. With the first trumpet, there is the warning from the angel Michael that the nuclear holocaust will come, and with it, a third of the earth, the land, and the trees and mankind shall be burned up. The second trumpet is the warning from the angel Raphael that the nuclear holocaust will come, and with it, a third of the sea, the creatures in the sea, and the ship shall be destroyed. Who is the third angel who blows the third trumpet? The third archangel is Gabriel. For Gabriel comes from the Hebrew name Gavriel, which means the Lord is my strength. With the third trumpet, Gabriel came to warn of the strength of the judgment for the 2/3 who are left behind. What happens when the third trumpet is blown? A great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of waters. In other words, unlike Poseidon, the nuclear bomb which is blown up in the sea, these stars will fall down from the heavens like torches from the sky. Where will these stars come from? The falling star is an ICBM, or Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. A missile with a minimum range of 3,400 miles, primarily for the delivery of one or more thermonuclear warheads. The ICBM is initially placed on an orbital trajectory, and at its height, the vehicle is outside the Earth's atmosphere. In other words, it is in the heavens. And eventually the ICBM will fall through the atmosphere onto its target. The detonation can be either an air burst or a ground burst. And in fulfillment of the prophecy, the Son testified that the day would come when these stars would testify against mankind. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, will not give its light, and the stars will fall, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on clouds of the sky, and great glory. And he will send forth his angels with a great trumpet together from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. Matthew 24:29-31. Thus, at the third trumpet, the ICBMs will fall like burning torches from the heavens. Where do these stars fall upon? As the third trumpet says, it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of waters. And water comes from the Greek word hudor, which means the water of life. For water represents life. As we know, when scientists look for life on another planet, the first thing they look for is water. Because without water, there can be no life. What is the name of that star? As it says, the name of that star is called Wormwood. And wormwood comes from the Greek word absenthos, which means a very pitiful ending. What is wormwood? Wormwood is a poison which comes from the Hebrew word la'anah, which means bitter, poisonous, and curse. For God promised that those who failed to obey him would taste the bitter curse of death. As prophesied through Jeremiah, because they have forsaken my law which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, nor walked according to it, but have walked after the stubbornness of their heart and after the Baals, as their fathers taught them. Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will feed them, this people, with wormwood, and give them poisoned water to drink. Jeremiah 9:13-15. Why will the nuclear bombs cause wormwood? In 1945, the United States detonated a nuclear bomb in Hiroshima towards the end of World War II. As we know, the city was decimated by this nuclear bomb, but also as a result of the great amounts of smoke released from the nuclear explosion. When the rain came down, it carried with it impurities which made the rain black. This is similar to the acidic rain that falls in highly polluted areas due to the dissolution of atmospheric carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides. Black rain was reported by many eyewitnesses in the aftermath of the Hiroshima bombing. As the dirt, dust, ash, and debris become mixed with radioactive fallout from the bomb, the material becomes coated with radioactive particles and becomes radioactive itself. The dirt, dust, ash, and debris remain in the atmosphere until it rains. As the material mixes with rain drops and falls down as black rain, coating everything with radioactive debris for thousands of miles from the bomb site. What ultimately is the result of wormwood? As John of Patmos would discover, although prophecy is sweet for some, prophecy for others is bitter and curse. For when he was told by the angel to eat the words of prophecy, he said to me, Take it and eat it. It will make your stomach bitter, but in your mouth it will be sweet as honey. I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it, and in my mouth it was sweet as honey. And when I had eaten it, my stomach was made bitter. Revelation 10:9-10. As it says, many men died from the waters because they were made bitter. Thus the waters will become bitter and poisonous, and men will die from drinking the waters. This was proven by a previous nuclear disaster. For the Chernobyl disaster occurred on April 25, 1986, at the Chernobyl nuclear power station in the Soviet Union, and is known as the worst disaster in the history of nuclear power. Some 116,000 people that had been living within a 20-mile radius had to be evacuated and relocated. And this 20-mile radius of nuclear contamination is now officially called the Zone of Alienation. Substantial groundwater contamination was one of the gravest environmental impacts caused by the Chernobyl disaster. The greatest damage was caused by the leak of radioactive materials into aquifers of the groundwater network. To the surprise of scientists, radionuclides from Chernobyl were found even in the deep-lying waters formed hundreds of years ago. Because of this, authorities have said it will not be safe for people to live in the Chernobyl exclusion zone for more than 24,000 years. And symbolically and prophetically, the translation of the Russian word Chernobyl is wormwood. Thus, with the third trumpet comes the falling of a star named Wormwood. For wormwood represents the bitter curse of the prophecy for the 2/3 who are left behind.